In this video, I will show the process of knitting this hat for my husband. I knitted this hat using knitting for Olive Merino yarn in the dark cognac shade. It is 100% merino wool, 250 meters per 50 grams. You will also need needles. I used 2.5 millimeter needles. And also we need stitch markers. My knitting gauge is about 29 stitches and 36 rows per 10 centimeters. This hat is knitted for my husband's head. His circumference of head is about 57-58 centimeters. Of course, you can make this hat for a smaller head size by casting on fewer stitches at the beginning. Just make sure that the total number of stitches should be divided by 4. I used about 1.5 skein of this yarn. My hat now weighs 80 grams. The hat is knitted starting from a provisional cast-on edge. The length is worked in a stockinette stitches, and then we will close one crown and then another one. Then the head is folded and the two crowns are joined together on the inside, completing the piece. To create provisional cast-on, take the main yarn you plan to use for knitting and an additional yarn. In my case, the additional yarn is blue. Tie them together at the ends and leave about 15 centimeters or about 6 inches from the edge, so you can wave it later. The additional yarn is positioned underneath and the main yarn is on top. Insert your thumb and index finger between the two yarns and spread them apart like this. So you have 2 loops on your thumb and on your index finger. Hold both tails securely in your right hand with a needle. Insert the needle under the yarn on your thumb and then catch the main yarn from your index finger and tighten the yarn. Secure the first stitch and repeat the same steps. Bring the needle under the yarn on the thumb and grab the main yarn. Tighten the yarn. And you can see that stitches in the color of the main yarn are forming on our needle. Once the required length is knitted, you can simply cut the additional yarn and undo the knot tied here. In this way, you can cast on the required number of stitches and continue knitting back and forth rows. If you want to start your knitting this way and work in the round, cast on the required number of stitches plus 1 extra stitch to join the work in the round. For the heads, I need to knit 132 stitches in the round, so I now have them cast on my needles. I cast 1 more additional stitch. Now I can cut the additional yarn, and now I need to spread out the stitches evenly along the cable and needles to make sure they don't twist. This is quite easy to do with the contrasting yarn. Just make sure it stays on the inside of the needles all the time. Now the first cast-on stitch is on my left needle and the last cast-on stitch is on my right needle. I slip the first stitch from the left needle on the right and then pass the last cast-on stitch over the slip one. Tighten the yarn, place a marker, and you can begin knitting in the round. I have finished one skein of yarn, and before I join a new one and continue knitting the head to the desired length, I want to shape the crown on the other side when we picked up our stitches. Let me show you how I will do it. I will temporarily transfer the stitches onto a cable and continue knitting with the same pair of the needles. So now all my stitches on the cable, and I return to this side. First we need to remove this blue thread, this blue yarn, and transfer all the stitches onto the needles. For this, untie the knot that we made for the cast-on edge and carefully start to pick up the stitches. Our stitches are positioned along the back side. These little bars are the stitches that need to pick up. You can either pick them all up onto the needle first and then remove the contrast yarn, or you can remove the contrast yarn like stitch by stitch and pick up open stitches. After picking up, make sure that the number of stitches on your needles matches the number that we originally cast on. In my case, that's 132 stitches. Now join the new yarn and knit the first row with knit stitches, placing markers as you go. These markers will separate the stitches around which we will make our decreases later. Here you can see the picture that shows all stitches on my needles and 4 stitches around which we will be making decreases. The red mark indicates the beginning of the row and the first stitch around which we will make decreases. Then knit 32 stitches and indicate the next stitch, and repeat this 3 more times. Now I will show you this on our needles. So here we have a tail from our cast on in the beginning of the knitting. And here will be beginning of the row marker. So my next stitch is the first stitch around which I will make decreases. I indicate it with 2 markers before and after this stitch. Then I need 32 stitches and indicate my second stitch with decreases. So I put marker before this one stitch, knit it, and place 1 more marker after this stitch. And again knit 32 stitches. Put marker before stitch, knit 1 stitch and place another marker, knit another 32 stitches and indicate my last stitch with future decreases. And knit to the ends of the row 32 stitches. So this is my round and 4 stitches. And now I will knit the first row with decreases. So I slip my marker, beginning of the row marker, knit this stitch, slip marker, and after the marker I will make right leaning increasing. So I insert my needle into both stitches and just knit it as a regular knit stitch. Tighten the yarn and continue knitting to the next marker. I knit to the 2 stitches before my second marker, and here I will make left leaning decrease. So I turn my first stitch and place it on the left needle with the left leg of the stitch in front. Then insert my needle into 2 stitches on the back and knit them both. Tighten the yarn. I will show you once more. So I slip the first stitch, turn it so its left leg is facing forwards, return on the left needle, insert the needle through both back legs and knit a stitch while tighten the yarn. Slip the first marker, knit 1 stitch, slip the second marker, and then right leaning decrease. Just knit 2 stitches as one. Knit to the 2 stitches before the third marker. And again, before marker, I will make left leaning decrease. So I turn my first stitch, then insert the needle through both back legs of the needles and knit the stitch, tighten the yarn, slip the first marker, knit 1 stitch, slip the second marker and make right leaning decrease, just knitting 2 stitches as one. Tighten the yarn and again knit to the 2 stitches before the fourth marker. Repeat all these steps before marker left leaning decrease, 1 stitch, and right leaning decrease, and knit to the ends of the row. Before the marker of the beginning of the row, we will make our last left leaning decrease. So here is the last 2 stitches of the row and I make left leaning decrease. So my first row was a row with decreases, and my second row will be just regular stockinette stitch row. So in this row I just knit all stitches on the needles. And after finishing the second row, you need to repeat these 2 rows, one with decreases and one with just knit stitches, until you have 12 stitches left on your needles. So now I'm starting the third row, and it completely repeats the first row that I already showed you. So after the first stitch, I will make right leaning decrease and just knit 2 stitches together. And now I knit to the 2 stitches before the second markers. And then I will make left leaning decrease before marker and right leaning decrease after the markers, and repeat these steps 3 more times. And my next row will be just with knit stitches. I have a total of 12 stitches on my needles, and now I need to close the crown. To do this, I take a needle, cut the yarn, leave about, I don't know, maybe 30 centimeters of thread. Thread the yarn through the needle and pass the needle through all these stitches. Take off all markers. Pull the yarn and pass through the same stitches a few more times. Now, quick update. Unfortunately, I lost the video where I showed how I continued knitting until joining the two crown sections. So, after closing the crown using the method I described, I attached the second ball of the yarn and knitted to the required height. When folded, the height of the circular knitting is about 22.5 centimeters. This means I knitted an additional 45 centimeters in stockinette stitch in the round. And after that, I decreased the stitches on the other side of the crown using the exact same method. Next, I turned the head inside out and joined these two crowns together. I will show you this process further in this tutorial. Then you need take your first knitted crown and tuck it inside this awl head. Then pass the needle through the center of the crown and bring it out from the inside through the center of the first crown. Secure the yarn on the inner side of our head, joining this way both crowns together. And our head is ready. All that's left is to wash and block it, and that's it.